So we're here at the High Rise Village, and this is Lodge S. There's a very confusing numbering system there. This is Lodge S. We completely excavated this in 2007 and 2008 and reclaimed it. And this lodge was fantastic. The sheep migration route that John Mayenzinski turned me on to is right behind me there, a couple hundred meters there. And so we would see sheep here every day while we were excavating. This lodge is the closest to that migration route, and within the lodge were 3 dozen broken and complete late prehistoric arrowheads, a few pieces of clay pottery, a bunch of bifaces, which are stone tools made from chert and quartzite that came from a long way away, and a slab-lined fire hearth that we radiocarbon dated to about 840 years ago there. This was a specialized weapons production workshop. Some of the other lodges that we'll go see were not weapons workshops. They were domestic spaces where there are nothing but domestic items like pottery and awls and scrapers and red ochre and things like that. There seems to be evidence of gendered space, and I find it very interesting, even circumstantial evidence, that there were guys here and women over there, because there are nothing but weapons at this particular lodge, and nothing but domestic items deeper into the trees there. So one student, Oren Koenig, wrote his master's thesis at the University of Wyoming on just this lodge, and he finished in 2010, and it is a brilliant master's thesis. He looked at the distribution of all the artifacts. We point plotted every single artifact that we found in 3-dimensional space, and he recreated the lodge exterior walls using that 3-dimensional point plotting that we did. Most of the projectile points were pushed up against the wall. In this area right next to this tree, there were, I think, about 18 or so projectile points in there. And then the fire hearth was right about here. And it was not quite in the center of the lodge, but closer to the opening, which was probably over my right shoulder there. You can see that there's a very nicely built up wall here. These 2 timbers are not part of it, but there's a built-up wall, and this is most definitely filled on the downhill end and most definitely cut on the uphill end. There are 2 more lodge pads behind them. These are not easy things to photograph, they're not easy things to see, but when you find projectile points on the surface at these lodges and not on the surface elsewhere, you begin to recognize a signature. Some of the other lodges are characterized by the presence of monos on the surface or bifaces on the surface. This one there's a little tiny bit of burned bone, and the first pass with the trowel we exposed 2 late prehistoric projectile points. So this is one of the most recent lodges at the site, and it's certainly one of the ones that's easiest to interpret because there's nothing in it but guy stuff, if you don't mind me saying that. And Oren's thesis really did this a great service by being so thorough there. So we'll see other lodges that are architecturally a little bit more spectacular and easy to see than this, but this is one that we completely excavated. It's one of the few that was completely excavated there.